kids, welcome back to MamaNature's kitchen. Today we're going to make pierogies. Here's our recipe, so go ahead and pause the video and get your screenshot. Today we're going to make pierogies from scratch. That's right, just like Grandmom used to do. When I was a girl, the old ladies in church used to sit and do it on very long banquet tables in the banquet hall. It was just such a joy to watch. Well, now you're going to be able to make them yourself. For our filling, we're going to start with some creamy mashed potatoes. And I left some of the skins on. And if you're unclear about how to do mashed potatoes, you check out my basics videos and you'll find it there. I'll put a link below in the description. I'm going to add to this about 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar jack cheese. We don't want to be too cheesy, but we want to have the flavor of it, and that'll get us there. And then I diced up some onion really fine. I'm probably only going to use about half of what I diced up. And that's why it's a good idea to use these little ball jars when you're working in your kitchen, because now all I have to do is put the lid on and it goes right in the refrigerator. Plus it's glass, so we're not dealing with any plastic waste. Alright. Now it's all mixed up very well, and we're going to get started filling our dough. Alright, now we're going to start making our dough. We begin with 1 large egg. Right there, toss the shell. And we're going to put in our 1 cup, 8 ounces of sour cream. And you see I've got the whisk attachment on my mixer. We're going to begin with the whisk, but then as we start to add the flour in a little bit, we're going to switch over to the dough hook. Now this is a really cool tool. It gets every last bit out of that cup measure. I'm not sure what it's called, but if I find out, I'll put the link to it in the notes underneath this video. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and raise the bowl and get her whisked. Alright, I think that's pretty well incorporated, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And I'm going to add 1 cup of whole milk. And when you buy organic, not only is the quality better, but of course it lasts longer in the refrigerator. You get more for your money. Alright, we're going to go ahead and mix that. And when that's all incorporated, we're going to start adding our flour. Alright, that looks pretty good. Everything is mixed together. I'm going to start adding flour, and you'll notice that I added my plastic shield here, and this is going to keep the flour from blowing up and filling the entire kitchen with flour dust. So we're just going to stir this on about a 2. Very gently. And I'm doing this 1/2 cup at a time. So there's 1. Oops. It's not a party till you make a mess. Alright, that's 2 cups, so that's 1/2 of our flour. And this is white flour, yes, but it's unbleached. You want to get it unbleached because there's no room for bleach in your food. 2.5. You can hear the motor is starting to struggle a little bit, so we're going to switch over to the dough hook in a minute. There's 3 cups. Alright, we switched over to the dough hook, and I'm going to add that last cup of flour. There we go, 1/2 cup. And that's it. Now the temptation is to turn the motor up so that it'll get done faster, but don't do it. You'll make a mess in your kitchen. You're not prepared for it. Just let it take its time on a nice 1 or 2 speed. So our dough is ready, and we're going to turn it out onto a floured surface. But before we put flour here, we want to make sure that it's perfectly clean, spanking clean. Now we know that the health department, if you've ever taken a food safety course, will tell you that you need to sanitize all of your surfaces with either bleach or one of their approved cleansers, which is all chemicals. But if you use the microfiber with nanosilver or microsilver embedded in it, it will pass all the health department's tests because it picks up every single bit of protein that can cause bacteria to grow. When we know better, we do better. So I've got some flour here on my worktop, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this dough out onto the flour. I got another one of these guys I'm gonna have to employ. Let's get some flour there and get you out of there. Right now our dough is pretty sticky, so you want to make sure you keep your hands well floured because we're going to need this for a couple of minutes. Using a bench scraper, you might have a metal one or a plastic one, doesn't really matter. You want to keep it well floured. We're just going to turn this and add some more flour as we go and knead it until it just gets to the point where it's not super sticky anymore. We want to be able to roll it and cut it. There we go. See, I already don't even need the bench scraper anymore. Just a good surface flour. Get that right in there. There we go. And if it starts to feel a little sticky again, like that, then you go ahead and you just add a little bit more. Not rocket science. This is the fun part. It's great to get the kids involved too. They like to do this and then, freeze you up. Now it's going to start to push back. When it starts to feel very elastic and it wants to maintain its shape, it wants to come back into a tight ball, that's when you're done. I'm just going to put a little more flour on the surface here because this is going to rest for about an hour. I'm going to cover it with a nice stainless bowl and just leave it completely alone for an hour. Now's a really good time to clean up the mess you just made. All right, an hour has passed. Let's see what we've got. All right, looks pretty good. It's a little sticky, so we're gonna go ahead and put in some more flour. There we go, that's probably plenty. And we're gonna need that bench scraper again. Get in there. Flip it over. There we go. Nice. Now we're going to quarter this. So we're going to cut it into 4 nearly equal pieces. Okay. I'm going to take 3 of them and just place them in our bowl off to the side here. And then we'll roll out just 1. All right. I'm going to lightly flour my rolling pin, and I want to roll this out to about 1/8 of an inch thickness, so it's going to be super thin because our mashed potatoes are going to be the star of this show. You just keep working it and flouring it whenever it starts to feel sticky. And then you want to get, ooh, there you go, that's getting nice and thin. You want to have about a 3-inch circle, maybe a biscuit cutter, or I have one of these handy dandy little pierogi makers, and that makes about, well, that's probably not even 3 inches, about 2.5 inches. And we're going to press that into the dough when I'm sure that I've got it as thin as I want it to be. Alright, I'm satisfied with the thickness of the dough, so I'm going to go ahead and start making circles. You want to start at the edge and then make each circle close to the last. There you go. So you're not wasting any space. So I'm going to coat my mold with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil that I have here in a dish, just to keep them from sticking. All right. Now they're starting to shrink back a little bit. That's okay. Just work it in your hand, make it bigger, and then try and decide which side's stickier. You want the sticky side up. You want the floured side on the oil. I'm going to take a little bit of our mashed potatoes with the onions and cheese in it. And you probably noticed that on the recipe sheet, I gave you a couple of variations. You could put in broccoli, you could put in bacon bits, whatever floats your boat. Have fun with it, make it your own. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead with our water and just moisten 1/2 of our pierogi right there. We're gonna fold it in half while tucking the middle in, and just give it a little gentle squeeze. We don't want to squish it too much because then we'll go right through the dough and ruin the whole thing. And there you go. I'm going to go ahead and put these aside on a baking sheet, which I'm going to put in the freezer. My first dozen are ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and fire up the griddle outside, and I'm going to put away the rest of the dough and mashed potatoes for later. We'll be able to make them tomorrow or within at least the next week. So you put the pierogies on the griddle with a little bit of butter, and you cook them until they're nice and golden. The traditional way to do this is with onions, so fried onions, and some good Polish kielbasa. Oh boy, oh boy. That's all plated up and ready to be loved. Time to dig in. Another way to make your pierogies, and probably the most practical way, is to do them on the stovetop. So what I've done is I went ahead and I put about a tablespoon of olive oil into my pan, and then I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter into the pan. My butter is melted, the pan is getting nice and hot. You can start to see the bubbling of the butter. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in my pierogies. Now clearly they're frozen, you can hear how they hit the pan. So what I'm going to do now is just turn that flame down to low, and I'm going to put a lid on there for about 5 minutes. We got a good sizzle going here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the lid, and I'm going to inspect the bottoms. Oh, good. They're starting to become a little translucent, which is just what we want. Now I'm going to bring that flame back up to about a medium, not quite medium, because now that they're softened up, and you can tell when I press on them that the middles are indeed thawed, we can start to go ahead and brown. Now my family likes to have them with fried onions, so I just cut an onion in half, and then I cut the half into slices, and that's going to go in there. Give that a little shake. Oh, there, see, we're getting there already. Beautiful, golden. Smell is incredible. There you have it, pan-fried pierogies, golden and delicious. Now the greatest thing about pierogies is that they're so versatile. You can do them the way that I just showed you, or you can deep fry them. You could put them in your air fryer. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe, and make sure you click on that little bell so that you get notifications the next time we put up some more content for you. In the meantime, you remember that you can make and keep yourself well, and we'll see you next time.